Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Esteemed FaceTime with Leaders, an initiative by World Development Corporation. I am Sunny Pancholi, anchor at World Development Corporation. FaceTime with Leaders is a platform for industry titans to share their experiences, thoughts, ideas, and best practices in order to inspire one another and future leaders. In a nutshell, we attempt to encapsulate the multi-decadal learnings acquired by these industry leaders. We also hope that by conducting these FaceTime with Leaders interviews, we can bring together a global community of eminent personalities. By bringing together such visionaries on one platform, we hope to play a part in inspiring the lives of other leaders. Great learnings from great leaders undoubtedly assist everyone by identifying, nurturing, and using the trade secrets that are proven success formulas for many. And this is what we aim for with these sessions by making them a gathering of industry stalwarts and a knowledge-sharing community. We have one such personage on FaceTime with Leaders with us today, Mr. Pashupati Kundu. Welcome to FaceTime with Leaders, Mr. Kundu.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Pancholi.
Mr. Kundu is a highly experienced professional with a diverse career spanning 2.5 decades in various markets in India and South Asia. He has worked in both startup and established corporate environments, gaining expertise in multiple areas such as strategy formulation, leadership development, sales and marketing, business development, and team management. He has proven track record of demonstrating his skills in P&L improvement, brand management, distribution management, retail management, B2B, D2C business, and performance coaching. Currently, he is working as business coach and management consultant and helping establish SME business owners, corporate leaders, and startups across various industries attain their next phases of growth. So, Mr. Kundu, could you please let our viewers know some of the biggest difficulties you have faced during your professional life and have taken a lot of learnings from?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Pancholi, for a wonderful introduction. You elucidated my background quite well. And coming back to your question, what are the learnings, biggest difficulties I faced during my career, and what are the learnings from them? I would start chronologically, from the day I started my professional career after finishing my education. The first one, of course, was transiting from a student life to a professional life, professional career. That was the kind of difficulty or challenge, I would say, because while you are in education, we are only prepared to that extent, right? However, the practical life outside your education or outside your academic environment is a bit different. So that was the first challenge. Of course, I started way back in 97. So there were a good training programs for freshers to come into the corporate world. And I was fortunate to be part of one of those, and that helped me gradually move into the professional life. In that, I would say the learning that I got was that we need to have an open mind. We need to have an open mind and be ready to learn new things. In academics, even if you are a school topper or college topper, you may think that you know a lot. But once you step into the corporate world, then you realize that there are so many new things to be learned. And having an open mind, having a mindset to imbibe all things will help. And that helped me a lot. In fact, I had good mentors during that journey, which kind of eased me into the world. The second thing I would say is, coming across various cultures and thought process. I would say till now, I've lived in 9 cities, across the country and abroad also. So as you know, people are different across countries, across cultures. Their thought processes are different, their habits are different. So, living in those cities, in those countries, gave me a perspective of how people who are not from our same country work or operate. Of course, I learned that at the end of the day, human beings are all same. Their core values are same, right? Be it respect for each other, be it the be it their love for being important, being made to feel important. That is unique across the world. That is same across the world. Honesty, integrity, transparency. These are the core values which are liked across the world, no matter where you stay, where you live. So, but of course, the habits differ. The habits differ. The thought process differ. For example, in India, we start work a bit late. I would say around 9:30, 10, right? Whereas in other countries, in Sri Lanka, in US, they start at 8 a.m. Right? So we need to adapt to those. But once we are okay, once we have adapted to those small changes in habits, I think the life becomes too easy, and then you are able to get the respect, get the get the confidence, get the trust of those people, and then your work becomes easy. That was, I would say, a great learning for me, having lived across various cities. The third is, of course, I would say, which I've seen, and which is also uniform across nations and across cultures, is the reluctance to change. Reluctance to change, because people are, I would say, not so ready to come out of the comfort zone. And why is that? Because they fear the risk. They fear the unknown. They don't want to take risk. They are kind of too risk averse. I would say too risk averse, because if they come out of the unknown, if they step into the unknown zone, things are likely to be better in most cases. But having gone through many experiences in the past, or hearing stories from others, people are, in my opinion, are too risk averse. If they take risk, if they are ready to learn new things and come out of that comfort zone, the results are much better. They would get. So that was a challenge which I had, and I thought that how to reduce this challenge. How to mitigate the risk, because the core factor is the risk factor, the fear of the unknown. So how to reduce that risk. So I took some steps by which either qualitative or quantitative ways to reduce the risk, and show them that if you come out of your thing and if you take that extra step, the results that you are getting now would be, the results that you get later after stepping out of your comfort zone would be much better. So in my view, when people are risk averse, when people are afraid, as a leader, as a business manager, or as a leader, our job is to give them that confidence, reduce the risk, show them that what the results are, when they come out of it, and to show that the leader has been able to mitigate the risk to a large extent. Then your followers, your team members would gladly accept what you tell them to do. Right. Another thing I would like to mention here is the lack of implementation, that was of the knowledge. Today, as you know, knowledge is everywhere. First, the challenge is to take the right knowledge, because information is there everywhere. We are overloaded with information, so we have to really sieve the right information, filter it down. That is one part of it, and the second part of it is action upon that knowledge. Because only then the transformation will happen, right? So that is the challenge which I have faced, is that people take all the knowledge. They are sometimes good in sieving that knowledge and filtering down to what they need. But when it comes to implementation, again, there is that hesitation, there is that resistance. Again, I would say probably because of, again, the factor of unknown, right? So here also, as a business leader, I would say that, if you make it easy to implement the task, there may be a big task or a big project to be implemented, but if you divide the project into small parts, make it easy to implement, I would say that, in that case, the implementation becomes easy, and and then it becomes easier for the business leader as well as the team to take up that implementation and derive the result that they want from that project. I think these are the 3-4 learnings that I want to share with the viewers. Of course, there are many learnings over the last 25 years, but these are some of the core ones which I thought I faced and I'd like to share.
So this is a great start to the session. And let's move forward to our next question. So Mr. Kundu, you have grown from nascent roles to being a business coach and management consultant. So which is the most amazing feat that you have achieved in your career?
Okay, the most important thing for me as a career person in my career or in life also, the thing which gives me the most kick, the kick I would say, is when I'm able to impact lives, when I'm able to improve lives,
Right.
And one of the ways to improve lives is to create jobs, right? So that is what I have always tried to, that grow the business or grow the turnover revenue of the business that you are in, and create more jobs, because that is one thing which you can directly, through which you can directly impact the lives of the people, right? And fortunately, I was part of 2 startups. Those were global companies, global organizations with presence in 80 countries, more than 80 countries, each of them. And
Okay.
I joined those companies when they came to India. So in India, they were startups, but on their own, they were global nationals, global corporations. So, and you know that when global organization comes to a country, then there are a lot of things to be done. You have to set up the brand, you have to set up the distribution network. You have to set up your vendor network. You have to create a team to deliver the goods. So I was fortunate enough to be part of these startups. And in a startup, you get to work in so many roles. In a big organization, there are many people. There's a structure. There's a hierarchy. So you get to work only as per your job profile. But in a startup, since the team is not so big, and there are various roles to various jobs to accomplish in a very short span of time. So one gets to do, or one gets to experience varied kind of roles. So I got exposure to, you can say, marketing. I got exposure to team management. I got exposure to operations. I got exposure to finance also, after sales service, having worked in these startups. So, and when they came to India, of course, the revenue was zero. And today, both the companies are national leaders, with the highest market share in their own category, by which it definitely means that they have created a lot of jobs.
So, Mr. Kundu, could you name those 2 corporations?
Yeah, one of the companies which I was fortunate was Daikin Air Conditioning.
Okay.
I was the 12th employee to join Daikin when it came to India in 2000. And Daikin today is a big brand with thousands of employees working for them, and they have a huge market share in India, right?
Yes, yes.
The second company is Kohler. Kohler is an American brand into a bathroom fittings category in building material, right? So I was also one of the early employees in Kohler India. And today, as you know, that Kohler again is a well-known brand in India with a lot of stores, a lot of retail touch points. The products are, technologically ahead than others in the market, and by which they have created a good positive impact in the consumer's mind, right? So those were the 2 brands. And then when I started my journey as a business consultant and business coach, it gave me much more satisfaction, much more satisfaction, because the ability to impact was much larger and in a more diverse sector. Okay. Today, as a consultant, let's say in the morning, I work with a healthcare client. In the evening, I may have a session with a retail chain, right? Next day, I may have have sessions with an interior designing company, and again in the afternoon I may be discussing with the owner of a printing technology company, right? So as you said, the industry which I operated in diverse, right? And it gives me, big amount of satisfaction that I'm able to impact their businesses to grow. For example, I was able to grow the healthcare business of a company by 30% in 1 year. The occupancy went up by 30%, in 1 year. And one pharmacy retail chain which I'm working with, when I joined, they had only 2 stores. but now they have 30 stores in a span of 3 years, right? So you see, all these entail creation of jobs, which is my main motto. So that grow the business, bring impact to the organization, and in the process, create jobs, right? Because a pharmacy chain, let's say, for example, a pharmacy chain would employ about 70 people in one store, a max, right? So 2 stores would employ 15 people, and 30 stores would employ how many? Like 250 people almost, right?
Right.
So from 15 to 250. So it gives me a lot of satisfaction when I'm able to create, when I'm part of a process, in creating so many jobs and so many, impacting so many livelihoods. I would say that's the biggest amount of satisfaction I get.
Great, great. So, Mr. Kundu, what would you like to advise future leaders of the corporate world in India?
Okay. That's a tough question, because it's all it depends on the individual to a large extent. However, I would like to touch upon a few factors which might be common to everyone or most of them. And since you have said future corporate leaders, so I would assume that they are just stepping into the corporate world, right? Or yes, they spend maybe a few years in corporate world, and they are ambitious enough to become the leaders in their own right, right? So, of course, I don't want to tell so many things, but a couple of things or 2-3 things. One is that being consistent. Being consistent is important. Why I'm saying consistency is important, because in today's times where information is everywhere and you have so much access to other forms of entertainment or work, being consistent, being disciplined is very important. It's not important to be right or perfect all the time, or the first time, but it is very important to be consistent. Do that work, do that small thing, get away, keep on doing that. Because consistency is what I've seen in my work also brings a lot of impact, because you get that visibility. You are able to create that result through that discipline of consistency. When you are consistent, of course, discipline is important, because if you are disciplined enough, you'll be consistent in what you do. And being disciplined means you will do it whether you like it or not. Sometimes we may be bored. Sometimes the mind may not be there. Sometimes when I'm going to a session, I may not be in full mood, right? Something might have happened in the morning which would have impacted me. But since I'm committed to that session, it is my responsibility to give my best in that session, right? Because absolutely, people are expecting they are looking up to me to provide that guidance, to provide that input, which will increase their business, which will create that impact in their lives and in their team's life. So it is very important to be consistent, very important to be disciplined, right? And it's not so easy. It may sound that discipline we have learned from school and it's kind of easy, but it's not, right?
Yes, it is not. It is the toughest part, yes.
Yeah. Second thing I would say is always be ahead of the curve, ahead in the learning curve, because again, in today's context, obsolescence is very high. In many of the sectors, things become obsolete, things become old very soon. So one has to be constantly upgrading oneself by new learnings, or if you are in particular industry, look at the technology that is coming in the industry. Look at the new things, look at how the consumer behavior is changing over time in that industry. So one has to be completely and continuously on top of it by upgrading, not be stagnant, because if you are stagnant, you are degrowing. So if you have to grow, you have to upgrade, right? That would be the second one. And third one, I would say is, though one is working for oneself or the family, but at the same time, it is also very important to take care of the community, right? That is very important, because we are part of the community. We have taken so much from the community, and it is our responsibility, it is our duty to give back to the community, right? So even if you are at a very young age, let's say if you are in your 20s, still you have a lot of things to give back to the community. Right? And that is very important, because even from your career perspective, even from the business perspective, today consumers like brands or like people who give back to the community. So from that aspect also, it is very important that you have that giving nature, that giving orientation. So as the saying, there is a saying that the more you give, the more you get, right? So it's very important to take care of this facet of your life or your nature. And of course, the last thing I would say is be innovative all the time, which again comes from that point of upgrading yourself all the time, is being innovative, right? Because if you are not being innovative, if you're not introducing new things, others will catch up with you very soon, right? Here I would like to give example of my previous company, Kohler. Kohler is very well known in the market, quite well known for introducing new products, new SKUs, all the time. In fact, the number of products which they launch every year is much higher than the next company, right? Which gives them that edge. The people, the consumers, the customers are always looking up to Kohler for introducing something new, right? So they are very high on R&D, by which they are able to innovate and bring innovation to their products. So even if you are a company or an individual, it is very important to be innovative all the time and bring in new things so that people look up to you. That is, I would say, these 2-3 things for the future corporate leaders.
That was so insightful of you. Mr. Kundu, have you ever felt a better need for ESG integration in any of the firms you have worked for?
Yeah, see, I worked for a healthcare firm. I'm working for that healthcare firm as a business consultant. And as you know, in healthcare, it's a hospital. So a lot of these biochemical things are there, vestiges are there, right?
Right.
There may be syringes, which are used syringes. There may be blood samples. There may be other body fluid samples. It is very important to dispose them off in a proper way. Otherwise, they have the risk of, to the society, or even to the team which is working there, the staff which is working there, right? So one has to be very careful about the company, the industry one is working in, and how it is impacting the environment, how it is impacting the people you are there who are working there, right? So your corporate governance norms, your society government norms, your environmental government norms have to be very particular about that. For example, in these 2 companies also, there was a lot of talk on because both these companies I worked for in my corporate career, water was an important element in that product. Air was an important element. So in both the companies, there was a lot of thought, a lot of training, a lot of inputs given on how to, protect the environment, how to conserve water, for instance. In Kohler, the bathroom products, they use water. So a lot of time we were brainstorming on how to reduce the water consumption so that water can be conserved without, of course, impacting the experience, but how to reduce water, For example, when we go to the bathroom and use the closet, we use about 9 liters of water. We use 6 liters of water. That much is not required. Okay. So how to conserve water is very important in today's world. Similar for air also, as you know, that air pollution and this global warming and ozone depletion. These are some of the factors which affect the mankind, not only the individual and the organization, but they're impacting the overall mankind, right? As you see in India, like in Calcutta, where I stay, there has been a heat wave, this season. And as I saw the data, I read in the article that the heat wave is occurring more often these days. It is occurring once in 5 years, once in 4 years, whereas 50 years back or 100 years back, it used to occur once in 100 years, once in century. You see, the frequency has become so high, which means that as company, if we are in those industries, which is impacting the environment, we need to really take care. Our policies should be stringent enough to mitigate the impact or the adverse impact that we are making in those industries. So water conservation, air pollution, the biochemical or whatever waste that you are generating in healthcare. And of course, every industry will have some waste. So how to how to get rid of that waste in an environmentally friendly manner is very important. That I would say the companies or the industry should take care. Waste management, waste elimination of waste properly is becoming a very big task these days.
Rightly said, Mr. Kundu. You must have seen a lot of technological changes in your field. So which are some of the most significant one, and what changes do you see ahead with the introduction of AI, ML, IoT, Web 3.0, blockchain, etc., etc.?
Okay, of course, this is a question which I get to hear quite often, and because now the technology is improving and it is improving in leaps and bounds. The rate of, as I said earlier, the rate of obsolescence is very high. So what is current today will be old tomorrow, and something new will come up.
Right.
So, so I have some good views about this, the improvement in technology. One is that the utilization of resources will become more efficient. With all these technologies coming in, big data, AI, ML, the resources will be better utilized, because we'll have a lot of data, we'll have a lot of experience. By the use of technology, the errors will come down. So the utilization will become better, because as you know, resources are finite; they are not infinite. So it is important for us to utilize those resources as best as possible. And usage of technology, implementation of technology, in my view, will go to a large extent in improving the efficiency of utilization of resources. That is one. For example, in marketing, we get to know a lot of data, but at the same time, we work with a lot of unknown factors also, because that is why there is a certain amount of unknown factors, certain amount of risk. But with the advent of technology, with the input of technology, that the unknown amount will reduce, right? Because with the big data coming in, you have a lot of analysis done, you have analysis across your customer segments, right? You get to know more about your consumer behavior. So you know exactly what the consumer is wanting today and what you can offer so that he can solve his problem utilizing your product or service, right? So, the amount of unknown, will reduce over time as we implement better technologies, as you implement your ML or your artificial intelligence. So that will reduce. The efficiency will go up. The second thing is, I would say, again, a positive factor, I would say, is life will become more comfortable. The mundane tasks will be easier to do. Even if you compare yourself, prior to 20 years back, life has become much easier today. For example, if you want to withdraw money from your bank, earlier we had to go to the bank, stand in the queue, maybe wait for half an hour just to maybe withdraw 1,000 rupees. But today, there are so many ways by which you can withdraw 1,000 rupees within a second. So life has become comfortable and will continue to become more comfortable. The mundane tasks will be taken up by technology. We as human beings will invest less time on those factors. So we'll have more time. So now what we will do with that more time, right? So people will start thinking of higher things, higher thoughts, higher things, they'll start thinking about other people because their problems are solved, their needs are solved. So they'll start thinking about the weaker sections of the society or people who don't have access to so much technology. So I would say the fraternity, the sense of fraternity, the sense of brotherhood, things will all go up. These are some of the, I would say, the non-quantitative or qualitative aspect of technology improving people's life. In fact, I am a very firm believer in that the people will become more spiritual, because more they spend their time thinking about higher thoughts, higher perspectives, higher domain. The spiritual, I would say the coefficient in people will increase. They'll become more spiritual. And I would really love to see that because that is my strong belief. And I would really love to see the spiritual quotient going up in the society as a result of the technologies coming in.
Rightly said. Now that you are a certified ESG expert and experienced in the field of corporate governance, What values do you offer to the corporate world?
See, one is that I can help them in the next phase of growth without compromising on very important factors like sustainability, the care for community. I can bring better corporate governance in those organizations, without compromising the growth. The buzzword or the correct term is balancing, balancing the growth as well as your duty to the society, your duty to the community, your duty to the teamwork. So I would say that I can bring in that input, my knowledge, my experience in creating that balance. The company or the business grows at the same time, you are able to take care of your other requirements, the ESG requirements, the social requirements, right? Environment concerns, the corporate governance concerns. Those things I can say I can contribute to the organization. The second thing I would say is, of course, all these things would make the company a better place to work with. It will attract top talent. If you are ESG compliant, if you're following the corporate governance, because the youngster today, the young generation today are looking at these things. They are not only looking for that job profile or a good compensation. They're also looking at these qualitative things, that whether the company is caring for the environment, whether the company is caring for, do they have those core values of being fair, are they contributing to the society? So those things, good talent, these youngsters, especially this current generation, they are looking at that. And I can really contribute in that by making the organization a better place to work so that they are able to attract and retain good client. Because as you know, in any organization, the most critical resource is human beings, is human capital. That's
absolutely
the resource. So if you are able to retain, if you're able to attract good talent, your work is outdone, right? So that is why the human beings, the human capital is so important. And of course, the third one I would say where I can contribute to the organization is to drive innovation. Because in my career, in my business consulting, also what I focus is in how we can do things differently, how to bring in innovation. And I would say that is one of my key points where I can contribute to the organization.
Absolutely. So, Mr. Kundu, we are building FaceTime with Leaders community for cross-pollination of knowledge and a community of independent directors for having a better corporate governance in the country. So what are your thoughts about these initiatives taken by Mr. Zishan Pathan, Mr. Hiral Mehta, and the whole team of World Development Corporation?
Yeah, I think they are doing a fantastic job because it is the need of the hour, as this, the ESG compliance goes up, because fundamentally, India is now in a phase of growth. Okay, it is in a high phase of growth for the next few decades, right? At least 2 decades is what is my personal reading. India is going to grow at a very high rate of growth for the next 2 decades. So as you grow, as the country grows, a lot of business opportunities will come in. The existing corporations, they will become bigger. Okay, they'll employ more people, they'll employ more talent, more resources they'll use. So the requirement for good corporate governance, caring for the environment, caring for the community, these things will become even more important. The laws are also becoming stringent, where you need to do all these things, right? So you need a set of professionals, and you need a set of experts who can guide the corporations, who can guide the industries, who can guide the society in meeting up to these standards. And this is where Mrs. Zishan Pathan, Mr. Patel, and others in World Development Corporation are coming in, and they are doing a fantastic role in building up this community of experts who can guide the corporation. And that is one, So I would say in that perspective, they are doing a fabulous work, and it is really the need of the hour. So good idea at the right time. That is what I would say World Development Corporation is doing.
Great. So it was fantastic conversing with you, and I'm confident that your insights will inspire the future leaders. Thank you, Mr. Pashupati Kundu, for joining us today, and we wish you the best for your future endeavors. Moreover, trust that this initiative by Directors Institute unquestionably expanded the participants' understanding and enriched their minds.
Thank you, Mr. Pancholi, for giving me the opportunity to be here today. And
pleasure.
The work you are doing, and great. And my best wishes to World Development Corporation as well. They are doing fabulous work, and keep at it. That would be my message to them.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Have a nice day.
Thank you.